Good evening, I'm Chris Nachkate. Welcome to APTN National News. Thank you for joining us. A possible breakthrough in the search for two slain women whose remains are believed to be in a landfill north of Winnipeg. Late this afternoon, the province of Manitoba said, according to experts on site, potential human remains have been identified in the search material. The Manitoba RCMP and the Office of the Chief Medical Officer are now involved. According to the province of Manitoba, the RCMP has now initiated a found human remains investigation at the Prairie Green Landfill, and steps for identification are underway. The families of Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron have been notified of the development and have attended the site. Harris and Myron are among the victims of a Winnipeg serial killer convicted of killing 4 First Nations women in the city in 2022. The remains of Rebecca Contois were discovered in June of 2022 at a city-owned landfill south of the city. The whereabouts of a 4th victim, known only as Buffalo Woman, is still unknown. Excavation at the Prairie Green landfill began in December of 2024. APTN News will continue to follow this developing story. The Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs held an urgent press conference this afternoon to inform the public about a recent serious alleged assault against an Indigenous elder in Winnipeg. The AMC said the incident is another example that Manitoba continues to grapple with an escalating drug crisis. And a warning to our viewers, this story may be triggering.
Coming home from Thompson last night and hearing, that my mother was brutally attacked and seeing her in the hospital. And trying to make her laugh just so that we could get past the trauma.
Joseph Foray held back tears as he explained a serious alleged assault against his 83-year-old mother, Victoria Comeau.
Realizing that I could have lost her because somebody wanted some money to buy some drugs. I'm making that assumption, but at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, broad daylight, to brutally beat an elderly woman like that, 83 years old, it's not right.
According to Foray, the alleged assault happened on Tuesday afternoon, just outside of his mom's care home in the 400 block of Elgin Avenue, as Comeau went to go get a liter of milk at a nearby store.
This man punched the 83-year-old elder in the back of the head. She turned around to see who was there, what was happening. He proceeded to punch her in the face.
The Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs says the elder's injuries include internal bleeding and a shattered pelvis from the attack. Foray says if it wasn't for a man who jumped out of his vehicle to stop the alleged assault, he fears his mother wouldn't be with him today. Foray, along with the AMC, wants swift justice and is calling for the province of Manitoba to take immediate action.
We need to bring this awareness that our communities and our neighborhoods are not being safe under the present strategies that the government is implementing in regards to gaining control of the drug crisis that we have in our city.
Something like this better never happen again. Elders are sacred. They are the most important people in our Indigenous societies.
Foray says he would like to see some kind of increased patrol in the neighborhood to protect people in the community, and says Manitoba's current Housing First projects are not working, as he has seen ongoing drug and addiction issues near his mother's home. A similar assault against an elder also took place in downtown Winnipeg last Friday. Winnipeg police say a woman in her 70s was assaulted by an unknown man while walking in the skywalk. A 49-year-old man has since been arrested. The Winnipeg Police Service said they could not say if the man was arrested in Tuesday's incident or provide a statement before broadcast time. Chiefs in Ontario approved a child welfare reform deal with the federal government on Wednesday. It happened during their 18th annual health forum held in Toronto, where 76 Ontario chiefs voted in favor of an Ontario-specific deal that allows First Nations to take control of child welfare. This comes on the heels of a national $47.8 billion deal proposed by the feds to reform the child welfare system. That was voted down on 2 occasions last year by chiefs at the Assembly of First Nations gatherings. Ontario's cut is $8.5 billion over 10 years. The agreement still needs to be approved by the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal and the federal government.
So many people were in these rooms with full heart, trying to change a relationship with Canada that has been marred by distrust, dishonesty, and abuse. And that's the kind of officials that we want working for Canada. That's why it's so important to set a tone politically.
This week, the Chiefs in Ontario blocked out months of political noise and influence to do what is best for our children. We respectfully ask that anyone who may think they know better than us, please listen carefully to our leadership, who spoke loud and clear today about why we did this and do not interfere with our decision. We have been fighting for our children for nearly 20 years, and today is a concrete step that stops others from continuing to make decisions for our children and families.
The Assembly of First Nations of Quebec and Labrador has a new regional chief. Francis Verreau Paul has been elected to fill the role. This follows the resignation of Ghislaine Picard in January. Picard has filled the role of regional chief for the last 33 years. Verreau Paul is Innu from Mashtoyash, Quebec. He has served as Chief of Staff at the Assembly of First Nations of Quebec and Labrador since 2023. 4 candidates were in the race for this role, including Verreau Paul, Kathy Martin, Constant Awashish, and Monique Kistabish. When asked how he feels filling Picard's shoes, Verreau Paul says he has big moccasins to fill. He says his platform is focused around preserving language, the land, culture, and the youth.
I really want to be that bridge between that new younger generation and all of the other generation. I think it's very important, and I want to make sure to connect with them. I think we work for them. We work for the future generation. I think it's really important. It's going to be a central aspect of my work.
Nova Scotia RCMP has raided 13 dispensary stores in 4 Mi'kmaq communities earlier this month. Mi'kmaq protested outside an RCMP detachment in southwestern Nova Scotia. They say the RCMP are violating their treaty right to an economy. Angel Moore reports.
About 30 people gathered outside the New Minas RCMP detachment. They are protesting the police raiding 13 dispensary stores in 4 Mi'kmaq communities in southwestern Nova Scotia and arresting 21 people. Some buildings were seized, including Pat Kaiser's. His store was in the Gold River First Nation.
I don't think it's illegal because we have the right to an economy. It was proven in our treaties, and it's a continual battle. It doesn't matter what industry we want to participate in, whether it's the fishing industry or the cannabis industry. It's a continual battle.
Inside the detachment, RCMP spoke to media about the details of their investigation. Over a 2-week period, RCMP raided 13 storefronts, seizing drugs including cannabis, edibles, magic mushrooms, and shatter, a drug containing a high potency of THC. It all had an estimated value of $1.25 million. Police also seized 17 long rifle guns and a handgun. RCMP Superintendent Jason Popik said the operation was aimed at organized crime who supply the stores and are taking advantage of the Mi'kmaq.
They're being exploited. They're being exploited by a group of people who really don't care for them, but it's a means to get their product to market. It's a means to get their product to market, hiding behind a treaty that is not theirs and wasn't intended for them.
But the Mi'kmaq demonstrating outside the detachment say they do have a treaty right to operate dispensaries, but Superintendent Popik disagrees.
I have a hard time with the Peace and Friendship Treaty. In any intent on any person back in 1752 to say, we want you to sell products that could be harmful to our friendship and our communities. I think that's something that the courts need to decide.
Cody Ward had his store raided, but is confident treaty rights will prevail.
At the end of the day, you can dick us around in the courthouse, but These are Aboriginal inherent rights. They're treaty rights. They're protected a handful of different ways, and this is a waste of taxpayers' money even making a raid on, if they can sell it, we can sell it too.
Roger Toney's cannabis trading post was also raided.
We are not criminals. We're grassroots people, and we bring products from the ground to trade. We are not criminals.
Police charged the 21 people with more than 50 offenses, such as unauthorized sale of cannabis and possession of unstamped tobacco. Kaiser says the charges will not deter him.
My goal is to lick my wounds for a little while, and I plan on opening up and coming back bigger and stronger, the same way our people did hundreds of years ago and have been continuing to do that ever since the dawn of time.
Police say the investigation is ongoing and further charges are expected. Angel Moore, APTN National News, New Minas, Nova Scotia.
A First Nation in the Yukon grappling with a mining disaster met with Auditor General Karen Hogan on Monday in hopes her office will launch an audit into the incident. The First Nation of Nacho Nayakdun is urging Hogan and her office to audit the Yukon's management of mineral activity, as well as the Eagle gold mine failure. The mine is located on the First Nation's traditional territory. Last summer, it experienced a heap leach failure, causing millions of tons of cyanide-contaminated rocks to be released into the nearby environment. Nacho Nayakdun is also asking Hogan's office to investigate what it says is the territory's failure to co-develop new mineral legislation with First Nations. Hogan's office said in a statement to APTN News that decisions regarding audits take several factors into account. That includes already planned audits and available resources. We're always looking for your feedback or story ideas. Here's how you can continue the conversation with us. If you have a story you want to share, send us an email to news@aptn.ca. To read and watch our stories, go to aptnnews.ca. You can also find us online on your favorite social media sites, including TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. Follow APTN News to join the conversation and see our latest stories. 3 Indigenous films will be showcased at this year's Kingston Canadian Film Festival. Annette Francis has that story when we come back. Welcome back. The 25th annual Kingston Canadian Film Festival kicks off today in the Eastern Ontario city. 3 Indigenous films are among this year's lineup. As Annette Francis tells us, the films are already a huge hit.
Filmgoers wanting to see the Indigenous content this week in Kingston had better hurry. According to the Director of Development, the venues are already near capacity or are sold out. Nina Nawasat, We the Children, is the latest creation of Abenaki director Kim Obamsawin. It documents a 6-year period when she visited 3 different Indigenous communities and followed the journeys of First Nation children, looking at the challenges and celebrations they face. It's been a popular choice.
A local area high school bought out an entire screening of it for their students, and then still had 60-ish more students that were like wanted to attend. So then we added another screening at the same time in a venue that was like empty at the time, and then they bought that one out too. So that was amazing. That was great. Which then, of course, directed all the other people that wanted to see it.
Ryan Ludicus says Indigenous content has always been a part of the festival. It's a mission to showcase Indigenous films. It dedicates up to 15% of the overall programming.
So Surreal by Neil Diamond and Joanne Robertson. Kind of follows the story of these ceremonial masks that have gone on quite a journey from being removed from the communities in which they were made, and which helped actually influence the 20th century surrealist movement. Ended up in like museums and studios and stuff, and then follows their journey making their way back to their rightful owners. And then Aberdeen is the one by Ava Thomas, and she's that follows like an unhoused woman named Aberdeen in Winnipeg, played by Gail Maurice, who actually has been at the festival a couple times already in the past. 2023, she had her directorial debut screened with us. So Gail Maurice plays Aberdeen, and it kind of follows her like rebuilding her life through the help of her friends and, you know, reconnecting broken, lost, long, you know, family bonds.
Tickets for the films can be purchased online at kingcamfilmfest.com. The full schedule of screenings begins today and goes until Sunday, March 2nd. Annette Francis, APTN National News, Kingston, Ontario.
With this year's Juno Awards almost a month away, the show has recently added some new and current Indigenous talent to its list of performances. Haisla Nation's The Snotty Nose Res Kids have been announced, and they will perform for this year's Juno Awards in Vancouver on Sunday, March 30th. They recently signed with Sony Canada and released their 6th album titled Red Future. The rap duo is also up for 3 Juno nominations this year, including Rap Single for the song BBE, Rap Album for Red Future, and Contemporary Indigenous Group of the Year. Saddle Lake Cree Nation's very own Tia Wood will also perform on stage at the Junos. She too recently signed with Sony Music and released her first album, Pretty Red Bird, with such hits as Dirt Roads and Catch and Release. She is also a first-time Juno Award nominee for Contemporary Indigenous Artist, and her father Earl Wood with the drum group Northern Cree are also nominated for a Juno Award for Traditional Indigenous Artist of the Year. Our reporter Tina House is up next to tell us about a new exhibit showcasing the Newhawk First Nation from Bella Coola, BC. Stay with us. Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. Our Shania Murdoch was cruising with her mother around Winnipeg when she noticed a sunny sundog illuminating the sky. Thanks, Shania, for that picture. Send us your photos to share at aptn.ca for the chance to be our next photo of the day. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Starting on the East St. John 0, Charlottetown 2. Nain -14, Kuujjuaq -24. Saguenay 0, Gaspé 0. Sault Ste. Marie 2, North Bay 1. Timmins -12, Thunder Bay 1. God's Lake -14, Churchill, Sun and -26. -2 in Gimli, Dauphin 3. Estevan 4, Swift Current 8. Uranium City -12, La Ronge +1. Fort McMurray 6, High Level -3. Medicine Hat 14, Calgary 14. Penticton 8, Campbell River 11. -5 in Fort Nelson, Dease Lake 4. Watson Lake 4, Mayo 0. -16 in Watee, Wrigley -13. -29 in Sax Harbor, Polituck -28. -27 in Baker Lake, Chesterfield -28. And Resolute -24, Arctic Bay -28. A new exhibit has just opened at the Museum of Anthropology in Vancouver. It showcases the history and culture of the Newhawk First Nation from Bella Coola, BC. APTN's Tina House joins us from the exhibit.
Thank you. We're here at the Museum of Anthropology with the latest exhibit, Newhawk Strong. Joining me today is Dr. Sinkikila Clyde Tellio. Clyde Tellio, will you please tell us what's happening here?
Yaus Madam, Anstas Sinkikila. Nice to be here with you. Our exhibit, Newhawk Strong, Dancing Down the Eyelash of the Sun, is a first of its kind. It's the first time that we as Newhalkum have been able to bring people together in a space like this to tell our stories, to celebrate our ancestors and our history and the path that they've cleared for us.
Wow, incredible. I've actually had an opportunity to visit your community, and it's incredibly beautiful there, and certainly a strong culture and a strong nation. Now, to witness the ancestors' work here, to witness the incredible talent of the stories and the culture and the protocol that's been shared, what do you want to say to the public about this exhibit?
Well, for many of us, Nukhalkum and Indigenous people, museums have been colonial trophy cases. You know, they've been viewed as colonial trophy cases. And that's been true for a while. We know that much of our treasures, our ancestral belongings were taken. But what we've discovered doing this work is that many of our elders had that butaltnikik. They've had that foresight, and they chose to place treasures in museums or work with anthropologists and linguists and preserve traditions that we now today can revitalize. And as our people are in an era of revitalization, reconnecting with the treasures in museums, and also building a new foundation with museums, a new relationship that allows us to co-curate an exhibit like this that both speaks to Nukhalkum in the revitalization efforts that we're taking, as well as showing the world who we are and that we're still here, we're still practicing our traditions, we're still Nukhak strong.
Amazing. Can you please tell us about this beautiful panel featured on the door here?
So the artwork that you'll see throughout the exhibit as background art was done by a young Nukhalk artist named Anukhimana Jade Henyus. She is a beautiful, bright, young Nukhalk artist that is producing some amazing stuff back home, as well as working to revitalize culture in the community, using her skill to bring treasures alive back home. And so we wanted to feature her, and she did this beautiful design of the Ayut, the thunder. And thunder is a symbol of Nukhalk's resilience. It's a dance that never stopped being danced, even in the height of the potlatch ban. And so we wanted that at the entrance of our exhibit to show that Nukhalk continues.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all that with us. And this goes on for another year, is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Back to you in studio.
And that's your evening newscast for this Wednesday, February 26th. We're back again with your daytime newscast tomorrow at 12 p.m. Winnipeg time. Make sure to join us then. From all of us at APTN National News and from our reporting staff from across the country, thank you for watching. Hai hai miigwech masicho, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Ekse.